All right, we're back again with another episode of for Reflections, and we have Forrest here. So, Forrest, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
When did your roofing journey start?
Man, my roofing journey started back in, I think, 2017. I was working at the family junkyard and had been there for a while. And, originally the plan was I was going to be the junkyard tycoon of Montana. I kind of grew to a point where I was tired of being in the junkyard industry. I was kind of tired of dealing with the demographic of people and, people trying to trade me fireworks and drugs for car parts and stuff. I was over it. I needed to try something new. And, I kind of had a little whisper in my head too, and, people saying like, you're only managing that junkyard because your parents own it. So I was like, you know what, I want to go out in the real world. I gotta see if I can make it. I was kind of talking to a buddy about this Friday night at a bar, and he was like, "Hey, I'm roofing for this guy. You want to come roofing with us?" And he's like, "He'll pay you, this much to start, no experience." And I was like, "All right, I think that'll work. Like I'm gonna be making just as much as I was managing. This would be a good transition for me. I can get going, make some money, and then I'll find something else to do because there's no way I'm going to be a roofer. Like, no way. But I can do it for a bit." And I got going roofing, and this was, I think, January or February or something like that in Montana. So it's cold, it's snowing. We're up in the mountains at one of the ski resorts, doing a roof. My first day, I watch a guy slide off the roof and go off. And unfortunately, he was okay. He landed in like 10 feet of snow and everything. But I remember seeing him go off, and I was like, what did I get myself into? I don't think is the move. But stuck with it. And I got to know the owner, and he took me under his wing. And I got to learn all the different aspects of the business. And I grew to love it. And I was like, you know what? This is actually something that I could turn into a career, and it's changing my lives. And I see how it could, there's just so much opportunity, and I could change other people's lives with it too. In 2020, we decided to part ways, because we had a great thing going. Man, we're still good friends to this day. When we run into each other, we always say hi and, check in on each other and say what's up. He actually rolled out some metal for us on a project that we needed some last minute help. So it's a great relationship. But, he was happy doing, 3-4 million a year. And I was like, if we get really serious about this, like, we could be doing 8 figures a year. Like we could be, I want a Ferrari. I want a house. I want a nice house. Like I want to do some cool vacations. And he's like, I like what we've got going on. He's like, I don't want to deal with any more headache than what we've got. And I was like, all right, I totally get it. If that's what you're happy with, then we're going to have to part ways, and I got to see if I can do it. So I left 2020 March, and about a week after I left, my wife told me she was pregnant. So once again, I was like, oh boy, all right, what am I going to do? Because I had no savings, and I just got a credit card and maxed it out so I could get like some company shirts, get a website going, get some tools so I could do some shingle roofs, and she tells me she's pregnant. And then roughly a week after that, COVID shut everything down. So now I was really like, oh boy, now this is serious. Plan A needs to work. I don't have a plan B. It's time to get after it. So I started door knocking everywhere I could. And mind you, this was COVID too, so people were not thrilled with door knocking at all. Very kind of hesitant to open the door for sure. And just texting and messaging everybody I could, like, hey, if there's anything, roof, gutters, I'll clean out your gutters, I'll do your repair, like anything. And from that, I was able to get a couple small roofs, and I busted them out by myself, tearing them off, getting them loaded up, shingling and everything. At that time, yeah, I was like, all right, I've only got these couple jobs. These are my one client, so I need to do the best job I can't. I need to make their landscaping look better than when they showed up. It's got to be above and beyond. I'm gonna, we're gonna clean it's gonna look beautiful when it's done. And through that, people were like, "This is awesome! Like, let me refer you to my friends." Because I was like, "Who else do you know in your friend group that I could maybe help?" From there, I was able to get a couple buddies to start roofing with me, and started doing that. And we had this little dump trailer that had like the 2-foot sides, so we had OSB propped up so we could fit more shingles in there and everything. And it just grew from there. We've grown now to where we're doing 7 figures a year, and we're very close to doing 8 figures a year. And we've got a great team of people. There's 22 of us now. Just growing the team and making a difference in the team members' lives that are a part of the team too. And trying to give back to the community and actually give opportunities to the people that are part of the team, because our obligation as entrepreneurs, as business owners, is to do that. Our vision, our dream needs to be big enough that their dreams, their visions, the things that they want to accomplish with their life can fit underneath that umbrella. And it's our obligation to give them that opportunity. We need to do everything that we can to grow and develop them as leaders as well. And not only is that going to benefit them, but it's going to benefit the company too. And even if they're not here at DGC forever, that's all right too, because that's just one more champion in your corner that's out in the world saying, I'm not there anymore and I'm doing this now, but that company was the best company I ever worked for. They got me started on the road of personal development. They opened my eyes to all the possibilities and what I was capable of. And that's what we're doing here at DGC. So
from when you started, right? Because you were taught the ropes. What sort of did it go to plan? I mean, was it quite different than you thought running your own business?
It was very different. There was a lot of late nights and instances where I actually remember looking back on decisions that my boss had made and not understanding them. And I suddenly understood them and how much, it changed the perspective for me a lot. And it gave me a higher level of respect for my boss too.
And you got a few jobs, but at what point do you think everything was going to be okay? Or do you feel like you're constantly on guard in terms of, keeping things going?
I'm not going to lie. I still kind of feel like things are on guard. Like I almost feel like I'm addicted to it. I almost have to create scenarios in my head sometimes where like this has got to happen, or this has got to get done, so that I don't get complacent and comfortable and keep pushing, So I kind of always do have that little fear in the back of my head, and that keeps me going. But also too, I mean, it's not about me anymore too. It's about the team and their families and everything. So you got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that weight of responsibility on your shoulders, how do you find a way to balance things with all the things going on in your life?
It can be tough sometimes. I try and view it as a big perspective, big picture. Like it's not just the week, it's not just the quarter, it's just the year. Like I'm looking at this, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years out. So I know that there's going to be seasons where I've got to be here a lot, and then there's going to be times and periods where it's not as much. I mean, when we first got going, that first 3 years, I mean, I was pulling some long days. My son was born at 4:36 a.m. So I did this kind of rule for myself where I would wake up at 4:36 a.m. every day and get after it. And that was a way to motivate me and remind me, like, no matter how tired I was, I just, needed to keep going. And I did that for 3 years. And now I take weekends and stuff, and I get some time in the morning with the family and everything. So I feel like I'm getting that balance with the family back.
When, people approach you that's newer to the industry, what sort of advice do you give them?
I tell them that roofing is an awesome industry to get into, that if you can get in with the right company and people, and if you have the right mindset and the right intent, that I mean, the sky is the limit. I mean, you can truly change your life. And I think that roofing and being in the industry, um, if someone wants it can create the opportunity for you to be the one, you know, to change the course of your family for generations to come. If you go about it the right way and have the right intent and you truly want to help people, and you're not just in it for the money. Because you see so many guys that they see they see the jacked up trucks driving around, and the roofers blowing all their money when a storm hits, and they're like, oh, I want to do that, and they cut corners and they don't do the right thing. They don't have the right intent, and it when you don't have the right intent, it will always come back around and bite you in the ass. I am a firm believer in karma.